First of all, the brief background. Khajuraho is a town in Madhya Pradesh. It was a flourishing temple region under the rule of the Chandela dynasty in 900 to 1200 CE. And it's so important because in Hindu thought and Indian tradition, the temple is the highest form of Indian art. Just like in Western culture, you can argue that the painting is the highest form, or in African culture, you can say the sculpture is the highest form. In Indian culture, the temple is the highest form of art, and it is where people go to link with the divine. So the temple is a reflection of the civilization, of the people who built it. Just like all of art, mass art is good art, is a projection of the civilization that represents the time. And Khajuraho, the civilization, practiced Tantrism, so therefore the temples reflect the ideas of Tantrism. So the temples are unified structures. There's a sanctum in the center, the Garbhagriha, which is translated to the womb chamber of the temple. Then there's a vestibule, then there's a large hall, another large hall, and a platform that it's on. And right over the sanctum there's something called the Shikhara, which is a tower that rises up to the sky. So the Shikhara, you see the ascending peaks, these four mountain-like things, are to resemble the mountain, and they reach for the limitless sky just the way an intellect or a spiritual devotee should. And that's what they're supposed to elicit while you look at these temples. And the mountain regions that they represent is the Himalayas, which is the holy mountain region, and the tallest point, you see the tallest Shikhara, the last one, is Mount Meru, the mystical Mount Meru, which is known as the axis of the universe, that everything revolves around, the center of the earth that you not. And the temple body is supposed to mimic the human body, is equated with the human body. And if you actually look at this one here, we have the Lakshmi temple on your right. It is you can see it's like two perfect triangles, the way a person in perfect meditation would look. And in the center you have the Bindu, where everything's emanating from, the Garbhagriha, and that's where all the auspicious energy is. And it rises up directly over, it rises all the way up through the Shikhara, and then it reaches towards the sky. So as Meru is the axis of the universe, and the temple, and the human, the spine works as Mount Meru. The spine is the axis of the universe. That's where you channel all the auspicious energy up, just like in the temple as you channel all the auspicious energy up. So, next slide, please. And here we have a picture of the Garbhagriha. On the left we have the Kandarya temple, which is the Shiva temple, and we have a picture of a Shiva linga, which is a phallus-like thing, and it's erect and it's facing upward. Can I keep going?
Yeah, you have 5 minutes for questions. Or you can keep going.
Is it okay if I keep going? I have 2 minutes left. So as the thing rises up, and it actually faces the east. So every morning the sun rises, and as the sun rises up, it brings the energy with the lingam up from the bottom chakra all the way up to the cranial chakra. So that's how it works. It's really an amazing metaphor that they've figured out. So this is what we have on the inside of the temple, but the outside of the temple is a depiction of all matter. Just like the inside is a depiction of all that's intangible, the outside is representative of all beautiful matter. And think of Parvat is the mountain goddess, and his daughter was Parvati, who is the daughter of the mountain goddess, the representation of all physical matter, and the mountain is, and the thing is a representation of that. So the temple comes from auspicious energy, just like the universe did. So Shiva's desire is Parvati, and that's why the universe happened. Shiva's desire was to create something, and that's what happened. The temple is a depiction of all earthly desire, but it's a depiction of all beautiful earthly desire, because when tantric desire, because when you transcend your desire to an act of worship, then they turn into beautiful energy. If we go to the next slide, and on the bottom you actually have the lower, the disgusting orgies, and as you move up, you see beautiful acts of not being displayed. You see beautiful celestial women representing the sacred place, the safety of the temple, acts of nature, and this is what we have depicting the beauty that the beauty of the physical world that can come from making union with auspicious energy and matter. So once the desire is fulfilled, then it can be indulged in, and that's why this happens. So the temples are a celebration of the union of matter and spirit, and the beautiful and the moksha attained. And we have that. So now let's wrap everything that we've learned up and watch it all come together. That Tantrism is physical and meditative acts that transcend us from mundane consciousness to a heightened level of consciousness, and we use mantras and yantras to awaken energy inside of the body. And the temples of Khajuraho are also instruments to guide devotees at recognizing the divine. And it's all a celebration of union of the spirit with form. Just like Tantra uses art to connect the human experience with the experience of divine ecstasy.
What is general perception of Tantrism in Indian society?
Well, it varies with people who are educated. People, like I was saying, people who are educated on the subject of Tantrism, that sometimes people look at Tantrism as a grotesque thing, as something that's vile, like oh, all Tantric people are drinking out of skulls in the cremation grounds. Because it's a religion that says that orgies in the graveyard can be conducive to spiritual growth. So a lot of people are dismissive of that because there's a lot of Orthodox religions that came out of it in India. So Tantrism kind of opposes all that and Tantrism actually blames those Orthodox religions for the downfall of Indian society. Because it said that because people were saying that the physical world, there's no value from it, that they started to neglect it and they didn't take care of their resources, they didn't take care of their bodies, and they wound up being dirt poor and poverty and covered in sewage, and that's what Tantrism blames because of that. So I guess, but I mean, I studied, next slide. And that's me, my guru. Oh, I'm not smiling at that picture, I'm smiling at the other one. That's the tantric priest who guided me on all my things. It was 10 days, it was intense, it was 4 hours of meditation every day, tantra meditation. We practiced the Panchamakara. Tantrism is secret, so I can't tell you anything. But yeah, any other questions?
Do you feel any change in yourself after writing Tantrism?
I do have a lot of subjective change, and I've kind of made a mockery out of it, but I do feel a large physical change, because I was meditating and I was sitting there and I was chanting, and I was thinking, why am I wasting my time? This is 4 hours of my day. I should be reading, I should be writing about Tantrism, not doing this. And my body was painful, my knees were aching, I didn't understand any of the Sanskrit terminology. And then, but I did it for 4 hours every day, for 10 days. And around day 7, I was doing this, and I started to feel my body vibrate. And I don't know what happened, but as it started to vibrate, it was like it was creating space inside of me. And it might have been only 5 minutes, or it might have been an hour. I don't know how long it was. Something exploded in my head, and it was just like I was a golden being inside of the universe, floating and flying. And then I came back, and I was like, what the hell just happened? I'm going to keep doing this. So yeah, so I do think that but I think it's more of a changing the neurophysiology of your brain. Because as you chant, it actually is a vibration, so you're changing your heart vibrations, you're changing the amount of oxygen that's coming in your brain because you're changing your breath. So there's a physical change happening, which leads to a subjective change in the body and the mind. So I do think there's a lot of benefits from maybe not tantric meditation, but any type of meditation.
There's a lot of controversy about which type of tantra is at Khajuraho. And some people completely dismiss Kalamuka, Palaka associations, and say the whole place was founded on that. Did your teachers go into any of that controversy? Did you find anything in your research that supported any of these positions?
Yeah. Can I take a picture? It's not in my PowerPoint.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. Well, I can describe it and I can show you the picture later. On the lowest level of the temples at Khajuraho, there is a picture of a giant orgy happening with a camel in the middle, and one of the guys is railing on the camel from behind. And this is on the lowest structure of the temple. And on this temple, someone's making the exact same face that on this that Sophie just made on this sculpture. Someone's doing this. Like they can't even look at it. So this is what we interpreted, me and the guy that were observing the temples, that Tantrism is saying that this is not appropriate behavior of society, that this is just a physical urge. And as you get up, you can see that the acts of Matana are much more beautiful, much more spiritual, and the eyes are actually closed, which means that they're not focusing on the act of sex, they're focusing on the God and liberation of union. And as you get up even higher on the temple, there's pictures of Brahmins in the act of meditation, saying that the highest form of ritual is to indulge in it with the mind, not with the body. So that's what we look at, because as you go up, it gets more divine, and these temples are the most divine things we could, arguably, that we have evidence of. So we take that as showing that the proper type of tantrism was bhakti, devotional tantrism, not bestial tantrism, or the left-hand path, varma. I forgot the Sanskrit name for the bestial way. It was more of the right-hand path practicing at Khajuraho.
Well, there's something in between spirit camels and those celestial forms of cosmic union. And so that's why I'm wondering, did you find anything in your research that actually indicated which schools? I mean, there are many, many different types of tantric schools.
I think it's the Tantric Puranas, so it's a combination of the Puranic texts, combining with some of the Kapalika texts, but taking out lots of the controversial acts.